I'm trying to connect the dots. If an able-bodied actress like Anne Hathaway, who has all her fingers, can't depict a three-finger character, well, how many actors and actresses have three fingers? I mean, Sheila, and going forward, what if we were to make another movie about, say, Stephen Hawking, who had Lou Gehrig's disease? Are you suggesting that only an actor with Lou Gehrig's disease could play Stephen Hawking? It is outrageous. And again, it's I keep asking this and I keep getting corrected. Are we at peak insanity yet in 2020? And then this Anne Hathaway story comes along. What are your thoughts on this, Sheila?
This is ridiculous. I want to get through the rest of these super chats, but we promised everybody on Tuesday that we would talk about Anne Hathaway. And I think we should, even if we just do for 2 minutes, if that's all right. David, this was your story, so why don't you introduce it? And I'm full of opinions about this, so why don't you go and then I'll go.
So as I understand it, she was in a show in which she portrayed a witch who had three fingers on each hand. So deformity, disability, there you go. And there is some sort of a backlash, I guess, by the three-finger community saying, how dare you do this? I guess it's kind of like what we see with racial characters in film and TV, Sheila, that it is verboten now for anyone to depict somebody that, they don't belong to that race. So you'd never have, say, Elvis Presley in the 1968 movie Stay Away Joe, where he's depicting an American Indian, as was Burgess Meredith, if you can believe it. It's actually so bad it's funny. But the point is, I'm trying to connect the dots. If an able-bodied actress like Anne Hathaway, who has all her fingers, can't depict a three-finger character, well, how many actors and actresses have three fingers? I mean, Sheila, and going forward, what if we were to make another movie about, say, Stephen Hawking, who had Lou Gehrig's disease? Are you suggesting that only an actor with Lou Gehrig's disease could play Stephen Hawking? It is outrageous. And again, it's I keep asking this and I keep getting corrected. Are we at peak insanity yet in 2020? And then this Anne Hathaway story comes along. What are your thoughts on this, Sheila?
This is ridiculous. She's an actor. Yeah. So the fact that she doesn't have three fingers, yet she's playing someone who has three fingers, that's what acting is. You're not supposed to be playing Anne Hathaway in a movie about witches because Anne Hathaway isn't a witch with three fingers. You're playing somebody that is a witch with three fingers. So that's the point of acting, right? Like everything else is simply a documentary. But this is what she wrote. I've recently learned that many people with limb differences, especially children, are in pain because of the portrayal of the Grand High Witch in The Witches. Let me begin by saying I do my best to be sensitive to the feelings and experiences of others, not out of some scrambling, politically correct fear. Sure, sister, sure. But because not hurting others seems like a basic level of decency we should all be striving for. As someone who believes in inclusivity and really, really detests cruelty, I owe you all an apology for the pain I caused. Let's just stop right here. Yeah. The Grand High Witch here, with three fingers, is being portrayed as extremely powerful. She's the Grand High Witch. It's not a sign of weakness that she has three fingers. It's just incidental to her character that she's different. And if you do have three fingers, you are different. It's not indicative of anything. It's not indicative of weakness. That much is pretty clear. But in this movie, she also has no hair. Are the bald people writing in? You know, and I just don't understand this. And it's based on, The Witches is based on a Roald Dahl book that says that the witches are depicted as having thin, curvy claws like a cat. So now are the cat people going to be mad? Like, I don't understand where this ends.
Well, Anne Hathaway,
you're not allowed to. I don't know. I don't
Anne
know.
Hathaway is
Go
a
ahead.
cat person. She played Catwoman in the 2012 movie Dark Knight Rises. But Sheila, no, I'm with you 100%. And also, I want to ask you this, my friend. Until that article came along, had you ever heard of the term limb differences to describe a handicap? Limb differences means that, presumably because she has 3 fingers on each hand, she's missing fingers. So by going by that vernacular, I guess I have a Ferrari difference because I don't have a Ferrari, right? I mean, it's perverse. Both the politically correct language to discuss people that have suffered amputations. I'm not making light of. I mean, it must be horrible. But if we were having a conversation, you said, "Oh, did you hear about Sally? She's suffering from a limb difference." I wouldn't know what the hell you're talking about. Just because you're saying somebody has a handicap or a disability or an amputation, how is that offensive in any stretch of the imagination? But like I said, we are going, in terms of, future movies and TV shows, if we're going down the road in which the character is depicted as, say, being in a wheelchair or has some disease, and now it must be mandated that the actor must have that disease or be in a wheelchair, wow, that's going to be a slim casting call, I got to tell you, Sheila.
We've already seen this with the trans movement, right? Like they don't want men playing trans women, I think is the right word. Like they've said that. Like and I get like ectrodactyly, I think is the word. That's like that's a thing. It's a birth defect. It's a thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that all of them are witches either. It's just a thing. It's a thing in the world. It's okay. My father-in-law's missing a finger from a trucking accident. I should have sent him this article. He would have gotten a real kick out of it. But we're going too far. We're going too far. And movies are going to be very, very boring. And it's just going to be a movie and then a series of apologies because someone was offended in it going forward. That's going to be it.
But Sheila, when you think about it, she didn't quite go full you-know-what. There was the apology to the limb difference community. Why wasn't there an apology to those of the Wiccan faith? She's portraying a witch. I don't think Anne Hathaway is of the Wiccan faith. Do you, Sheila? So how dare she misrepresent a particular religion or cult or community or whatever you want to call that?
It's cultural appropriation, religious appropriation, I think is the right word. We got to get to these super chats because we're 10 minutes past the hour.
That's an excerpt from my daily TV show that I do live at 12 noon Eastern time. We talk about the news of the day, we play interesting viral videos, and most importantly, I take your questions that you chat to me through YouTube Super Chat. I think that's the funnest part of it. So tune in every weekday at 12 noon Eastern time, only here at rebelnews.com.